Hi, I'm Karen. I grew up in a small village in the Midlands, and I've been living in the south for about 20 years. And currently I live in Sussex with my partner Caroline. I'm a bit of a sports fan, so I'm a Brighton and Hove Albion season ticket holder. I love my football and also a big fan of MotoGP, and I'm a motorbiker myself. And I do a little bit of running, so I've run the London Marathon a couple of times. I'm a Compassion child sponsor, and I've been fortunate enough to visit Africa and Central America a couple of times to meet with my Compassion sponsored children, which has been really amazing. And in 2020 I had the opportunity to climb Kilimanjaro to raise money for Compassion. I love a bit of a challenge, and it definitely was a challenge. I'm a Christian. I've been coming to Hawley Baptist Church probably for around 10 years now. I originally started going to my local church as a teenager. Back in the Midlands, it was Church of England Church, and I was part of their youth group and did the readings, passed around the collection plate, those kinds of things. And I was at that church for a few years. As a teenager, that was around the same time when I was starting to the realisation that I'm gay, and that and being a Christian for me didn't feel compatible. Nobody ever told me, I didn't come out at the church, and nobody told me I couldn't go, but just from the things, the teachings I'd heard, the conversations that I'd picked up on in the church over that time, it felt like those two things couldn't work together at that point in time. And given that being gay was a part of me, it wasn't a choice that I made. It was just something that I've known since I was quite young, that this was a part of me, this is who I was. And going to church was a choice. I chose to stop going. I never stopped believing in God, that's the thing, I never stopped believing in Him. I just began to think He wasn't there for me, because being gay and being part of the church just wasn't something that you could do. So as a teenager and living in a small village, I didn't know any other gay people, or I didn't think I knew any other gay people. There was nobody who was out around me. So it was really difficult to be a part of that community. I was doing all the things other teenagers do, going out with my friends, going to pubs and clubs, but never really meeting anybody who I could really identify with. Never really coming across people where I didn't have to have some kind of awkward question about, have you got a boyfriend? The classic. It wasn't until I started work in a nearby town where there still really wasn't a gay community that I was aware of, but I did meet somebody through that job who knew of some pubs and clubs in Coventry, actually, so a bit of a distance away, but where I could just go and be myself, not have to confront awkward questions, just be able to be and meet other people who were very comfortable in their own skin, happy-go-lucky, normal people, and I became part of that community. And as a teenager, when you don't really know anybody else, that was absolutely critical for me. I've never really had a battle with being gay. It's always just been part of who I am. I've never questioned it. My family and friends were all really amazing. I mean, it wasn't, don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy to come out. And it was more of a shock to some people than others, for sure. But they, whilst they could support me, they still weren't the same as me. So yeah, by being able to go to what people called the gay scene, which was really pubs and clubs for me, to be able to meet people who were happy, normal people who I could identify with. But yeah, that community was absolutely critical for me in being able to be myself. 20-something years later, I was living in the South and I came to Hawley Baptist Church to be the sign language interpreter. So I do British Sign Language and to do the sign-in. And that's where I started to refine my faith. I did the Alpha course here at Hawley Baptist Church, and that was a real great opportunity for me to ask some of the questions that I've had for a long time but hadn't really asked. And I didn't actually come out at the Alpha course until the very last class. So I'd asked lots of questions but didn't actually come out until that kind of last session. And it was really interesting because at the end of that series, one of the gentlemen who was supporting on that course came to me and said, "I didn't know you were gay and I don't understand it, but just you remember God rejects no one." And that was really important to me. That was a real eye-opening moment when I really started to think, you know, God is there for me, the same as he is for everybody else. And then standing at the front and doing the sign-in, again, light bulb moment where I started to realise I don't have to be like every one of you sitting in here. I don't have to be the same as the person in front of me, behind me, sitting next to me. I need to be more like God. And that really is what I want from a church. That's what church needs to be for me. I want to be able to come to church on a Sunday morning exactly as I am. Just come as exactly as I am, not have to leave anything at the door, and be with a community of people who will support me and encourage me to really grow my faith, to grow in my relationship with God, so that I can learn how to become more like him. That's what's really important for me. I just want us all to be able to support and encourage each other, and God will do that. God will do his work with each of us in all of our lives. Yeah, that's church for me. That's what I'm looking for.